the change over into the actual show. So hello everybody, welcome to Push a Talk. You are here with us on the 13th of July 2024. Yes, we're far flung into the distant future, but anyway, welcome. I have you can see on the actual side of the screen who is with us at this point in time. Hi, Bard.
Hello.
Hello, Dawn.
Hi.
Yay. And hey. Hey, Soft.
Hi.
How are you? How's everybody? What's going on? How have your lives been? While I pour a cider.
You mean a hard cider?
No, just a regular cider.
No, it's just cider, Dawn. It's just cider.
You don't get the say on this when you fucking when you banned alcohol for a while.
What?
Everyone goes through those phases.
I don't think we did. In actual fact, we didn't do that. We realized, the joy of alcohol, and we've never looked back.
And the benefits of it.
And yes, there are benefits. There's costs too. Let's be rounded. Let's be balanced and rounded about this. There are serious,
to be honest,
serious negatives to it if you're if you have an addictive personality.
I want to see someone try and ban alcohol in Germany. I actually want to see some politician go and try do that.
No Oktoberfest. What? Or an alcohol-free Oktoberfest would be terrible.
I don't know what it is you guys would do, but I know if someone tried to do it with wine to the French, the guillotines would be back out. I don't know what Germany's version is.
I don't know if we want to talk about
what's the really huge swords?
Let's not get into that. We don't like to talk about that era.
I didn't even think of that soft, but
good job.
What I was thinking of those Zweihander, the Zweihanders would come out. That's how I imagine it would be.
Oh, so much earlier than I was thinking. Okay.
Yes.
yes.
Just thinking blades,
Yeah.
Oh, when is FanFest? Samuka asked. That's next May, is it not? Dawn.
Yes, it's the 1st of May, actually.
Okay.
Dawn.
What?
Keep your disappointment in check for a bit.
No. I can't even wait 20 minutes. The only thing that's going to distract me is getting to talk about the Baldwin trial.
Look, are you not excited for FanFest?
I don't go. Why would I give a shit?
Why aren't you going?
Well,
because I don't have the money. I'm going to Japan next year, Soth. I don't have the money to also go to Iceland.
Why you don't have the money?
Yeah, choices are made.
You're really going to one of the most expensive countries to go to, and then you complain about not having money.
Japan's actually one of the. Getting to Japan is expensive. Staying in Japan is not that expensive.
I would say that Japan's fairly expensive, but
yeah,
people don't move to Japan if they're quite broke.
Right, I'm saying getting there is expensive because it is a longer flight for us. It's 13-hour flight.
I'm pretty sure it's a longer flight for me than it is for you.
Okay, I guess it depends on which way you go.
No, it doesn't depend on which way I go.
All right, there we go. Expedia.com. Where are you at roughly in Germany?
Just go for Hamburg Airport.
Yeah,
that's the closest.
That's where he would be flying from.
Yeah, that's what I needed to know. All right, Hamburg.
Yes, we're doing this live because
Dawn likes being wrong.
Yeah.
No, I just don't know how many hours it is, so I want to find out.
From the UK, it's 16 to 18 to Australia. So I'm gonna take a stab and say
That's not even close.
Hold
Yes,
on.
it is. Yes, it is.
I'm gonna
Just deal
say
with it,
it's
Dawn.
about 12.
Just deal with
So
it.
okay, Bargos,
probably about
when you're
12
going from
plus.
north to south, you're gonna have to go across the actual curve. There's when you're going around the same top part, they're gonna go up over the near the
Okay,
Arctic and then
okay,
down,
Dawn.
and it's actually shorter.
So how long is it from Hamburg Airport to Tokyo?
I guess
See,
Tell us.
different planes.
I'm gonna say
doing
12.
it. It's
I'm going
probably
to say
similar.
12.
I agree. It is probably similar to me, but I don't think it's longer per se. Or if it is, it's not that significant.
I'm
Let's
pretty
see.
sure it's longer because let's
Shit.
just say I picked Hamburg for a reason. It might be the closest airport, but it's also tiny, which is weird because Hamburg is the second largest city in Germany, and yet it only has like the 8th largest airport, if I remember correctly.
It's efficient. It's efficient in what it
I
does.
want to jump in here. I've just seen Higher Brand's comment.
Well,
I have to
God.
agree. I've got to agree with that comment. That is, yeah.
You make a good case there, Higher. You definitely
'Cause-
do.
Okay, it is long. It's if you reduced direct, it's 14 hours and 55 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it for me? I know we don't have a direct flight either, but
Shit happens.
15 hours and 35 minutes. Suck my nuts. I was right.
You got to invite
is
me to dinner
longer.
first, Dawn.
I was right. It is technically longer for me.
Not if you take Sothersil's very, very special
But
Okay,
16
folks,
stop.
you've heard
price.
it here first. You've heard it here first. Dawn's is technically longer than Saltersil's.
Yep.
It's,
From Germany is longer.
Oh, that'll be a nice,
no, I
nice
said
out of
it's longer
context
from
clip.
Germany than the time you told me.
Yeah.
That means I was also correct.
Caldari Prime Pony Club, I don't think anybody here is really sure anymore.
no.
You know what we
We're
could,
just
you know what we
arguing
could
for the
argue
sake of
about.
arguing.
What we could argue about, which is sort of in Caldari Prime Pony Club's wheelhouse, as they say, would be maybe the Skinner tool, basically costing people actual ISK.
No
And-
Eve
and
talk.
then-
If I'm not allowed to talk about it, you
No,
can't even bring up
you-
Eve.
We can talk about it. We can talk about it, Dawn.
Dawn, I'm going to point out Dirk's not here, so
Tber, I'm sorry.
True.
I'm sorry.
That
You
is
can come
true.
back.
You see, honestly, I would pay more for a Tber skin than a Skinner skin right now.
Oh, yes, I would. Because
I
I
literally-
feel like
look,
Tber
look.
Skin would actually deliver, whereas the Skinner skins wouldn't. So
I literally asked CCP if I can have one of the one of Tber skin for Anger Games, and I was told no, it's too much work.
how is it too much work?
It made
Control C,
everyone involved
Control V.
very
Right.
very sad.
Like what the fuck?
Like we all want
It's
Tber
just
skins.
stupid.
Just not the green ones. Green, I hate the color green. Sorry,
I mean,
Tber.
A unique Tber skin. Yes, I can see how that would be. As saying in chat, it is a bit of work. But an already created Tber skin that CCP already has on file, that has already been worked up and is, all bells and whistles and doing fantastic stuff. I can't see how that would be an issue. Or are you looking for a
we were
specific individual, like unique one?
We were talking about specific skins that Tber had posted on
Reddit?
Reddit. Yes.
That's a different
Works.
thing because some
You
of
have to
those
recreate
are
that in-game.
very interesting.
Yeah. And that said, to drag it back a little bit,
Yeah, but
Skinner.
Skinner may be faster, but it doesn't produce reliable results, as we have
Yeah.
found out on Reddit recently.
You can make a skin, but no guarantees that it will look like the one you designed.
Exactly.
Even
when
after
you-
you
and
do
when-
all the steps that support suggest.
And when you're paying money for such a thing, the possibility of accidental fraud might actually come up. Maybe.
I wouldn't go that far. Like people
So
always
just so that I'm clear here, there's a preview tool in Skinner, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah.
yes,
You get to view your skin.
And you get to see what the skin's going to look like
Mhm.
theoretically, yes.
in theory.
That's the
And then you push the
idea.
button, and then you push the button, and it doesn't look like that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh, no, because it's not just that, Apprentice. You also have to wait however many days for it to produce itself, right?
Why would it need time to produce itself?
Because they've baked in a system where it takes time, or you can pay Plex to speed it up.
I would like to say that they went ahead and actually asked for Caleb's thoughts on the matter, whether it should be instant or whether it should have a time.
Wow.
Should have some form of time element to it.
So with the
'Cause he
Skinner
loves that.
system, you have a limited number of skin slots for each ship, right?
You have a
Yeah.
limited number of slots, but they've added a new skill to the game, so you can train a skill to get more slots.
It's
I really
also,
hope you're full of shit on that bit.
No, I'm
Nope.
not. They
Nope.
literally added it the other day.
Wow, they did ask Caleb's input.
And you know what? You know the really funny thing about the Skinner tool is if you like put together a skin and then you kind of go remove all of the elements, you getting back to a blank canvas still costs you.
What?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, fuck you.
Like I would
admit I am impressed. I didn't think CCP could CCP this hard.
Oh, you did.
That's where that's
didn't
what
know that,
happens when you
Tber?
underestimate
Yeah,
the power of CCP.
If you go back to a
do
blank to a blank Skinner kind of thing after applying things, it still costs you like Plex in order to actually print that.
now.
Yeah,
I do
You
have
can
to
print
ask
the-
a few
you can
questions
print
here.
a skin that's the exact same as your ship, and it costs basically.
Yeah.
I do have to ask some questions here to the people who have actually used Skinner, because everyone knows I don't log in.
Yeah.
I've used it.
Can you control the lighting in the preview?
No. It is a fixed lighting point, and this is what Tber mentions as why there seem to be issues. Lighting is
fuck?
fixed and is not representative of in-game.
I just want to point out that the little tool Tber built, I believe, where you can look at ships in your browser and you can apply different skins to them.
You can
Even
also apply
that has
backgrounds
lighting
and all that.
control.
Yeah, you got
Right?
lighting control, you got background, background nebula kind of sort of control and all that kind of stuff.
Okay,
Great.
I've got just like another question about Skinner right now then, okay?
Okay.
So this was programmed by CCP programmers.
I
in, the
believe so.
in the EVE Online environment.
Yes.
Is it actually in the EVE Online environment, or is it like, like the chat system where it's actually running on a completely separate server
I mean,
and
it's
just interfacing?
I mean, I don't think it's in a separate engine or a different engine. Like it's in the same engine where, like, when you open up your ship fitting menu and like you have your preview of your ship, like that's the same. It's the same sort of thing. So same
Does that
engine.
still work?
That still works. Yeah, like you still.
Okay,
like,
so when
thankfully when you actually
when you put the large shield extender in, it doesn't turn into armor
true.
in the mid slot.
It does not
Okay.
turn into armor. It stays there.
No,
Okay,
no,
just
I,
making
I, I
sure.
would not.
So long
would
as
not
you're
bet on
actually
that.
applying it and you're not applying it to like a theoretical build, like
And it doesn't cost any ISK to fit your ship, right?
Yet.
yet.
Just
At this point,
I'm
yeah.
just checking. Look, the last time I talked to you guys, we didn't even get to the frickin' moon lasers, okay? So all bets are
Good
off
point.
right
It's a
now.
good point. It's a good point, Horrendous. Yeah. But then again, Dirk was here and he did have a
And
horrendously
he did
large
not
amount of
shut
rants.
up. Yes.
Yeah, he had some rants in him for that particular day. Because we didn't even get into what was it? The terribleness that was the Avalanche, or the terrible overpoweredness that is the Avalanche. Which I like to point out, you can still get over 1 million hit points on.
Yes, it doesn't hold as much stuff as we thought it does, though, mind you.
It doesn't hold enough, and you can't ramp it up in terms of like EHP to absolutely ridiculous levels. But if you know what you're doing,
don't mean like that.
If you know what you're doing,
so
and
the new haulers, like this is one of the new haulers, right?
This is the new freighter.
This is the new freighter.
The new freighter.
The new Citadel.
Okay, so if it's like a capital scale ship, then that's not as ridiculous. But okay.
I mean, the thing is, you can get regular freighters if you kind of want to throw bling into it. You can get regular freighters to like 600, maybe 700,000 hit points, right? But you can get,
and it's not unreasonable. It's not unreasonable for even an in-game, an in-universe perspective for someone to have said, you know what, this ship that holds all this valuable crap, maybe it shouldn't blow up so much. Like, that's not unreasonable.
Yeah. The whole point.
No,
I'm not going to say the point. I'm going to say the law justification for the Edencom haulers is basically Deathless Circle pirate attacks. We need stronger stuff that can defend itself and survive better.
But God knows we shouldn't have this apply to any of the other crap we're hauling.
To everywhere.
We're dancing around the topic that Dawn is bursting to rant about.
Well, I don't know why she's not just ranting then.
Just okay. All right. Dawn, go at it.
It's not like Mac will actually mute her.
It's 21 minutes past the hour. It's fine. I mean, I could.
My turn.
Yeah, you go for it.
Well, we started a minute late, so
Go for it.
Dawn, you're just wasting more time now.
Okay,
Rant.
well,
Dirk's not here to shut you up. Rant.
Oh, my rant? I don't know. I'm so just like
you don't know where to
apathetic.
start.
Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, let's be clear here. We all thought the instant respawning sites were weird. We weren't gonna be bad about it, but we were like, okay, let's do it. And for those that don't know, so basically CCP
Dirk's head exploded.
Yeah,
that's where
I'll let you know. Yeah. There's a story behind it.
So CCP pulled off a masterclass in bait and switching and gaslighting the fuck out of us, or at least they're trying. Basically, with the new Equinox, once again, they gotta just show us that they can still pull it off every now and then, right? They gotta be like,
that's fair. That's fair. We don't want the players to think CCP's gone soft.
Yeah, or gain a conscience or a heart or anything like that. Yeah.
Come on, Lorenz, harden the fuck up.
HTFU.
So basically, Equinox came out with all of the horrible mining changes that I've never gotten to actually rant about because I've not been home in the last 2 weekends to do it. But it's besides the point.
Well, the only one stopping you from ranting now is you.
I know. We'll get to that. So the new changes came out with all this stupid SOBs shit that's so dumb. I hate it. And then the which led to changes into the ratting because of the new ratting upgrades. And also mining changes because of the new mining upgrades. Now, the only thing cool are the brand new freighter ship thingies, and everybody loves them. So I guess that's their one little yay win. But basically, when the ratting changes came out, people were testing it in their test systems, and the sites were spawning instantly. And so there are multiple threads and messages and private messages where I have seen screenshots of private messages with people talking to different CCP employees being like, hey, just heads up, these are instant respawning. Is this normal? Was this intended? And every single answer was, yes, it is working as intended. Yes, this is how it's supposed to be. Yes, there's nothing wrong.
Or the plan.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what's happening. Every single answer in multiple Reddit threads where we could get a fucking answer from anybody. And then get private messages where there's not all eyes on them. Right. So then And so like everyone in the past week and a half were like getting excited, like, oh, well, and we were like justifying, like, well, it makes sense because in the old ratting system, you would range from 20 something sites of various categories, right? 20 sites to up to 40 something sites in some really good TrueSec systems with the highest upgrade. And once again, it's a huge variety. You got like 9 havens, 3 sanctum or 4 or 5 sanctums, hubs, rally points, ports, all of them. And they all usually added up somewhere in the 30s to 40s. Now, most of us only ever did like the top like 15, but they were all still available if you wanted to do them. Well, then yesterday when they did their like little patch to do some adjustments or whatever, that all of a sudden people were like, why are things not respawning? What's happening? They're like, we had to wait for our site. What's going on? And so then CCP is like, oh yeah, so there was a bug and it's not supposed to instant respawn.
Right.
It was the time. There's actually a timer where once the site spawns, it has a 20-minute timer for when it will be available to spawn again.
Well, 15 minutes, apparently, but they can't get it straight on that.
I've literally heard both answers at this point. I give up on it. Whatever. So, it's around that time.
So what I'm hearing, and feel free to correct me on this if my impressions are incorrect, but what I'm hearing is, if you're happy with something in this game, never fucking tell CCP. Jesus Christ.
I honestly didn't want to say it on the show last time we were on because I feared that they'd hear it and nerf it.
No. They never watched the show. Like,
no. But the Reddit guys fucking brought it to attention, didn't they?
So
stop fucking taking what we're saying in this show to Reddit, for fuck's sake, guys. Like, seriously. Like,
so
this is how we get our stuff nerfed.
Well, no, I'll tell you what got it nerfed. Okay, so they said that they was supposed to be, quote unquote, here, wink, wink, supposed to be, right? Is that when a site spawns, the next site's timer starts for 15, 20 minutes somewhere. We'll just say we'll give it somewhere in there. And if you finish the site before that timer finishes, it does not spawn, and it'll spawn at the proper mark. If you take longer than that, it will instantly respond to you because it has passed that timer. So you can basically get an instant respawn twice, guaranteed, like at least sometime during the day. After that, every time you're going to have to wait. And the timer amount is perfect if you want to do Ishtar ratting or Myrmidon ratting, or even like, just shooting with a Loki or whatever, right? You can probably get a site done in 10, 15 minutes. But
so it's the site spawns and then the timer starts. It's not that the site despawns and the timer starts. It's
right. So it is shorter than it is now. Somewhat. Like it is, yes, it is technically a little bit shorter than how it is now. But you're basically like, it is still just bullshit towards smart bombers and Stormbringers. The problem is that I would like to remind you, I said that systems used to have between 20 and 40 something sites. The max a system can have now is 17.
Yeah.
So this is a straight up
that's a full, like, highest TrueSec kind of site.
Highest TrueSec, highest military with possible random site spawning, right? Like cosmic anomalies and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
So we have literally had the amount of sites in a system cut in half for basically a 5-minute buff. If you're running like a super or a smart bomber or something like that, where you'd have to wait for a site anyways, like you would today. No. So it's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Can I jump in a second? Can you play that meme I wanted you to, Mac?
Oh crap! Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah.
Give me a moment.
Because I feel the meme he's going to play for me is very appropriate.
Oh, hang on. Fuck. Give me a fucking second. Yeah,
yes, we are always that well prepared.
Yes,
This is
very
the
well.
most prepared show in the entirety of everything. Like,
I feel
tried
like
to
I feel like
repair.
that would have been.
I mean, to be
that would
fair,
have been a
you
much smoother
yeah.
transition if
I-
you had
Look,
not
look.
drawn everyone's attention to it.
Yeah, you could have DM'd Mac and be like, "Oh, hey, you ready?" But that's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. Are you ready yet? Or else I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
Don't let us keep you.
Now,
Okay.
just
You-
to
you-
double
I
check,
think
Kinda
you
killing
should
it.
be able to see that, right?
are these changes live at this point?
These
Yes.
changes are live.
They're live.
Oh, that's
Okay,
That's
okay.
the
Just
point.
because Dawn keeps talking about how it works now versus
Yes.
this system.
I mean-
where
So
if
that's-
these changes are live, this is how it works now.
But that's
Yeah.
only if you've upgraded the systems, and most people didn't because we're not. At least Imperium, we're not dumb and being like, "Oh, let's change the new system," because we already were like, "We're gonna wait to see what they fucking
so this
do."
is so there's still in the overlap period. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just really concerned because the way Dawn was talking made it sound like this stuff was happening in
Mass.
No, like
No.
there was still Eve
Still
itself
time.
was still on the old system, and then there was this new stuff that was being worked on in some kind of
live.
test environment.
No, we don't
or,
get one of those.
No,
Well,
we don't.
well,
We
well,
don't do
there we
that.
go.
a separate server or something. I don't know.
We
I
have.
was really
in the
confused.
cloud.
I was just
We
really
finally got it. And
Okay.
it's so
It's all right.
apt.
It's all right.
Hold
Okay.
on. It is so apt. Because we were so close to killing the AFK Ishtar meta. It was going to die if this change with instant respawns went live for everyone, because everyone
Well,
just
if it carried on
It's
as
stronger
it was.
if you don't explain it and just let it go.
No, because this is the thing that CCP don't seem to understand, Horrendous. They don't understand that they finally...
No, I mean
Almost
it's
got rid
stronger
of
if you
Ishtar.
don't explain the meme.
All right. Anyways, so I'm going to
Oh my
talk about
God.
the beauty of why this is even more of a nerf than people sometimes
Yeah.
right? So we
Bard
went from
explaining the joke for all of his life.
ruins the joke. Yeah.
I'm not explaining the joke. I'm explaining the problem that CCP did.
Yes,
So
and they are clearly the joke here.
I mean, yeah, CCP are a
Giant
little bit a
fucking
joke, but yeah.
So we went from having 30 to 40 sites to 17 maximum. All right.
Yeah.
And with the barely better it is technically slightly better than the current system on a respawn timer, but not like a negligible amount. But the other thing is about 50% of the game cannot have a major 3 threat thing. They can only have a minor or one of the major 1s and 2s, which are okay, but
It
they're
means
really
that you have
shitty.
even less. Like it means
you
you have
have
even
less. And you can fit a minor into almost every system because they are so low in power. You can plug it in. So every system can have a couple things. But now overall the game has just gone like with the amount of ISK possibility in each system. On top of, if you want to have one of the the ratting upgrades, you ain't doing any mining in that system. It is not happening. The mining
JD
is so
Higa,
expensive.
unfortunately, probably. The rest of us have to hear it all.
What? You guys, do I have to talk more directly into this?
I'm really confused here.
So I think I can explain.
When they were talking about reinvigorating nullsec, did you really believe they didn't mean nerfing it to the ground?
When I think of reinvigoration, I don't think of a colonoscopy, but I guess that's what we're getting.
No,
Oh
they've reinvigorated nullsec. Everything was getting a bit too, I don't want to say stagnant, but
Septic?
sometimes you just need to make sure that everybody's blood pressure is bouncing off the top of the fucking meter.
Okay, so now, do you want to know how? Okay, so you guys will get this, and I assume some in chat will get this. So this change happened the day after Goons upgraded a couple systems.
Dawn, I'm not going for that theory, honestly, because No,
It's
honestly.
true. It's true.
Yeah, sure.
I was there.
But there is no way
makes
that
no
they're
sense.
targeting us.
No,
Yeah, but it's
not
no,
even
but
that.
it's just
not
it's the
even
running
that.
joke that anytime we try to engage in some weird thing that we say is broken or say is weird, they always change it only after we do it because they know
No.
we're gonna do it better than everybody else.
No,
So-
see, that doesn't
Dawn
that
was
doesn't make
there
sense.
when
That doesn't make sense for a
CCP
very important reason, Dawn. If they wanted to fuck Goons with it, they would have left it that way so that Goons would have thought it was a good setup and converted other systems.
That's
Yeah.
true.
See, Dawn was
Could have waited. They could
there.
have got a memer.
Dawn was there on the day CCP nerfed something in the ground. The day after Goons upgraded a bunch of iHubs, and
You
now
see-
all those
Dawn-
iskies
I mean,
are gone.
Dawn was
like
Dawn
tears
was
in the
there,
rain.
Sothrasil,
You see, the truth
3,000
is-
years ago,
Years ago.
the day the code of CCP failed.
You see, the truth is, if you want to go for Dawn's theory, Ralph has it right in chat.
Can we get in a third movie in here with that quote?
Oh my
Can
god.
someone manage a third one?
No. Just no.
Oh,
Okay.
Anyway,
and
yeah. Hold
Go
on.
ahead, go
I
ahead.
want to say this. If your theory was right, it wouldn't be what you were saying it would be what's happened today, as has been pointed out in chat. That the systems that we have upgraded now have a fucking incursion in them.
actually, there's a double incursion. They're next to each other.
oh, even better.
They're
Even
literally
better.
there's two incursions touching right now,
Ooh.
touching tips. Yeah, we looked at it. We looked at the spawn like, what the fuck? What's the likelihood of this? And someone did the Hercules thing, like in 18 years the planets will perfectly align. And it's so funny.
The tips are touching. Giggity.
Yeah. Yeah, they're literally next to each other across regions too. I think it's across a regional divide. So
I think so.
Looks
But
like
yeah,
Dawn
it's-
picked the right expansion to stop huffing rocks.
so rocks. I didn't get to rant about this yet. I asked Dirk to rant for me, but and there is
we didn't want to touch it.
yeah. So there is a very comprehensive Google Docs that a bunch of people, mostly H-dubs from Sigma, Dechusti, or however you say your fucking name,
Are we going
Condi
to
and Kismetir.
Are you going to complain about CCP saying that the preview is definitely not what's going to come?
Yeah, we're gonna
and
because
then it was exactly what we got.
yeah, I know. We're gonna get that's part of
The
it.
thing is,
So-
it gets better because we didn't well last week.
I
Having
love
left
the
week,
way
we then got more information that's even better this weekend.
I just
I know.
love the way Dawn starts this part of the rant off by telling everybody things that no one needs to be told. You can just assume is true. Something happens. Goons create lots of documentation about it.
No, none
I mean,
of it was
to be fair,
goons.
all of no.
It was a collaboration between a couple different groups. But basically,
Even more
as soon as
so.
the
I mean,
even as soon as the mining upgrades
I'm
came out,
shocked
some
Eve
people went
players
and
don't
tested
already
it.
have a spreadsheet set up someplace.
There
We
is.
have.
I
we
mean,
have a
see?
spreadsheet set up.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
a
It's
render.
actually already done.
Okay, let me rephrase
Hold
that.
on,
Let me rephrase that. I'm shocked Dawn didn't bring up the spreadsheet before the Google Doc.
Well, yeah, no, the Google Doc is the spreadsheet.
That's a
Sorry.
sheet.
Google
That's different
Sheets.
things gone.
Well, that's
To
not
me,
a doc.
It's a Google sheet. Hold on.
I want to explain the actual situation here to Arandis because it's quite funny. We have combined all of null Google Sheets that everyone is sharing because nobody wants to deal with this bullshit and would rather share information across coalition borders than figure it out for themselves.
I'm going to copy paste it into the Discord so you can look at it too if you want. There you go, if you want to follow along. But
It'd be very
basically,
useful.
Everyone agrees that the situation is a shit show. Like, someone summed it up on Reddit yesterday, but when you've got Goons, PH, Init, Frat, PL, and the remnants of Test all agreeing that this expansion was a fucking mistake, I think we got a problem.
I don't think
so
we
there's-
have a problem.
no, I think
He has the problem.
you'll find, and I found this, amazing nugget of sort of wisdom on the subreddit. I think you'll find that according to low sec people that we're just complaining too much. That we just we just need to harden the fuck up and not complain as much.
Fuck us. Because what we risk-free ISK points to destruction number on the MER and tell me how we're risk-free. Suck my dick, not a red. You heard me, because he's a dick. Anyways,
are you telling me?
But he's not a red.
Feel reinvigorated?
Let me talk about the mining.
Dawn sounds pretty invigorated. I'm just going to say that right now.
I am very passionate, but I'm not going to be soon.
So,
okay.
Kudos, CCP. You have reinvigorated Dawn.
To be fair, if you light a fire under anybody, they're going to be reinvigorated to be quite active up until the point where they suddenly end up not invigorated or active.
Look,
for the future,
right?
Yeah,
right. I mean,
okay,
look,
let me talk about the mining, and then you guys. I'm only going to be here for another 20 minutes. Let me talk about the mining.
Fine. Talk about the mining and then run off to your meeting.
Yeah, and then I'll go off to my meeting. You guys can continue on spurging. So
God, those things are still on Saturdays.
Yes. So
Asher was sick of it being on Saturday like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but it was better than taking.
Should complain to somebody who has authority to sort of change those sorts of things.
Yeah, you can go complain to him.
He was the one in charge.
I'm not complaining. I don't have to go.
So, with the mining, the biggest bullshit is, I mean, there's just so many things wrong. Where do I begin? Like, okay, so we go from having 5 sites guaranteed in a system, plus all the other little ones that'll spawn. We're going to 1 with maybe the other little site spawning occasionally. We're going to a site that has less ore in it on average than an enormous.
No, it's not even enormous. It's a large.
No. There's a couple that are bigger than an enormous. Like one of them's got 4.4 million in, so that's why average-wise it's about an enormous between all the sites.
Fair.
They are on value, if you mind the entire site, ranging between 800 mil to like 1.1, 1.3 bill. Give or take the ore, obviously prices fluctuate, but that's the average amount. And they have a 5-hour respawn timer. 5 fucking hours. They said, and that's a Colossal's respawn timer. So we're getting less ore, waiting longer, and the rocks are tiny as fuck.
As you can see here on the currentness value kind of sheet for the mining noms, you can see basically sort of the values, right? There's 2 that seem to sort of stick out quite a lot. I'm just gonna say,
ones?
It's the large crocodile, dark ochre, and gneiss deposits, and the home mineral field.
You mean the low sec one and the Pockfin one?
Low sec and Pockfin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Strangely
that's the point,
Dawn. Strange how that seems to be fine, and the people in low sec and Pockfin seem to be not complaining.
Well, no, because they've still got their ore.
Exactly. I wonder what would happen if suddenly they didn't have their ore. Or their ore amounts, value, and everything like that in the site basically gets dropped to what we're experiencing here in nullsec.
And okay. So my other thing that I didn't get to rant about.
Yes, go for it.
But is they, on all of these belt designs, they did not have a single shred of mercoxit in any of the belts, all the new sites, right?
Yes.
And this was like 2 weeks ago, so people might have forgotten, but they had no mercoxit in any of those belts. Mercoxit only spawns in nullsec and poshfed. And in nullsec, it was normally in like the colossal, the enormous, the large, and the medium, not even in the small, as well as like itty bitty teeny tiny rocks, maybe in the regular asteroid belts. And I mean like 10 units, like very tiny. And then I saw these new sites come up and I was like, wait, there's no mention of mercoxit in any of the compositions. Where are we going to get mercoxit? Because like there are random spawns that come up in, Eve occasionally of like a tiny mercoxit site or a large mercoxit, but it's still really small and kind of shitty. So where are we gonna, and it's only mercoxit, so no one's gonna want to mine it because like the Rorqual literally is just gonna sit there doing nothing. So I was like, where are we gonna get mercoxit? And then after I kind of brought it up to, you know, Kazmir and Dirk and everybody else, all of a sudden, magically, 3 days later on the patch, like, oh, and we've added this new mechanic where Mercoxit belt can randomly spawn in a system with a mining upgrade. You know, it's just going to roll the dice every few hours and see if one spawns. And I'm like, they had no plan. They had no fucking. They didn't say this during the original patch, right? If they had had this set up in the original patch, it would have been in there. This was oh shit, we forgot Mercoxit exists. And that is fucking terrible. They need to have somebody that actually mines, not an industrialist. Okay, an industrialist and a miner are very different because they have two mindsets. You know, industrialist is looking at what can I get to make everything, and a miner is going, what can I get to get just the most money for the raw ore I'm doing.
This reminds me about
no plan.
Okay.
This reminds me slightly about when I said sort of an ecosystems engineer. It's very different to an ecologist.
Yeah,
it's
or an economy.
Crazy.
Real
Do you know
quick,
how expensive it would have gotten?
Dawn, I would just like to say that, you know, that little bit on the rocks took 5 minutes. Okay.
It gets better.
Hang on. When Dirk did that same rant, his thoughts were much more organized, and coherent, with a lot fewer asides and tangents, and you still managed to be more concise because it took him like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I know. Have you not realized that? I was about to say, like,
no, I'm just pointing it out.
I know I did it way faster than Dirk did.
I'm just pointing it out.
He loves padding stuff out,
and
I generally tend to as well. So
because Dawn absolutely loves the next bit I'm going to bring up, right?
Which part?
We were holding out hope. We were holding out hope for something, weren't we? That maybe these anoms were small because maybe the majority of the ore was going to be in the escalation.
Oh yeah, the mining escalation that we saw on that video of the sneak preview that Spanish partner did. And
we were told as well.
And Swift was like, oh, that's a partially mined site. Those numbers aren't concrete. Those numbers aren't real. And we're all looking at it like, yeah, we've heard that fucking shit before. Like, this is on CC and this is like a day before this is going live. I don't think they're fucking changing shit. And lo and behold, after it spawning, after 2.5 weeks, it took 2.5 weeks for the first like mining escalation to come up. It is one of the rarest spawns in the game. And it is worth, what is that grand total? $1 billion-isk. And most of it is Veldspar.
90% is Veldspar.
Yeah, and it's got like one of every rock that you can get.
Which one is this in the tabs?
The Shrouded Asteroid. It's on the regular.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can look, it actually has 2 tabs because you can look at it raw too. This thing is a huge site, but guess what? It also only lasts 6 hours. So if you don't mine it right away, well, fuck you. So it's just looking at, like, once we finally got it and we saw the numbers, people were like, this is exactly what was in the video. Why is Swift lying? And that's like the biggest thing. We're trying, like, a lot of us are trying not to put anger on Swift for the bullshit and the lies he spread, because we know that he had to give the info that he had. But I would have rather him just not say fucking anything than give us really bad info, or at least not acknowledge that he gave bad info and then, I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and try and find out the right information for you. I work in customer service, and this is not customer service. You don't lie to somebody, or if you do make a mistake because you were told the wrong thing, you apologize and say, I'm going to try to get the right info for you. You know, or I understand your friend, like, I'm going to pass this along because you're right. This doesn't look good. Obviously he can't call CCP bad. It's his employer.
I would like to at least sort of hope that he could say who basically told him what he said, what he was, you know, the where his information came from, or which dev gave him the information that he put out, which was in error, that he now has to sort of roll back on, or sort of, you know.
Yeah, in all
know what
of
I mean?
the spots where he said all of them where there was going to be significant increase in respawn. Significant increase in respawn. Tell me, how is a 5-hour respawn timer a significant increase in respawn? To what? To what you originally made it?
Let's go one
Dawn.
better.
Dawn, it's a significant increase in how long it takes to respawn.
No, because what I'm going to quote Swift, because I did find his comment. I'll do the one of him giving us an update 5 days ago.
He's got like 3 of them that are fucking shitty.
So he's got the post that he's referring to, link, which was the one with the image from the Spanish creator, was the most up-to-date information at the time, with an updated screenshot from a site that was freshly spawned. I get that you're unhappy with rock sizes, but I'm always going to give out the most accurate information I have access to. I mean, that's a fair comment, but it's not really... It's not really correcting the record on what was wrong and what had happened.
I am always going to give out the most accurate information I have access to, which is why
basically throwing someone under the bus.
Which is why, as a lawyer, I have advised my client to lie to me.
I mean, yes, it's the throwing someone under the bus answer of someone else gave me bad info. I didn't lie to you. I just got given bad info.
I'm fine with that. I mean, that happens, right? In life, that happens. But I'd like to at least hope that they could be, transparent enough to basically be able to say who they fucking got that bad information from.
I'm not even explicitly expecting that, but
I don't expect that either.
When we get told,
yeah, no, you'll never get that.
When we get told stuff like 200% faster respawns on the anomalies,
which is not even true.
No, we're actually on slower respawns. But I'd at least
even
like
if he said, he's adding this to, like, let's say he was adding that to ratting. Like, let's say he was like being
it was specifically mining.
Vague. I know. But like, let's say someone tries to argue, he was actually talking about the ratting respawn. Well, that's not true. It's the same amount.
Right. His answer was his answer was the one that the other one was linking back to. But I'm going to quote 1 second.
Tell them to fuck off. Tell them you were doing a very important.
I was in the middle of ranting and you fucking cut me off.
Yeah, you cannot break momentum on ranting, or else it's hard to get that rage back.
Exactly. God damn. You got a lot to learn, Bard, in the skill of ranting.
Shush. Anyway, so the comment goes back to the one with the picture comes from an Eve partner who grabs some screenshots of a partially mined out site. Numbers are always subject to change, but these sites also respawn about 200% faster than existing sites. In brackets, numbers subject to change. So 200% faster never happened. I mean, he's got the defense of numbers changed.
Was that before everything went in?
What do you mean?
Yes, that was before it went live.
That statement was before it went live.
Correct.
Yes. So we had no way to see if that was true at all.
So the sites he was talking about respawn 200% faster after the changes than they did before the changes.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
When they weren't in.
Yeah.
No. He's specifically on about existing... Hold on, Dawn, please. He's specifically on about existing in-game sites, like the Colossal, and new anons.
Reread his statement again.
Numbers are always subject to change, but these sites also respawn about 200% faster than existing sites.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He mentions the picture that the original poster refers to came from a video from Eve partner who grabbed some screenshots.
But it doesn't say which existing sites.
Just vaguely the in-game ones, which would be the Colossal, Enormous.
I do want to point out here.
Maybe they respawn faster than the existing escalation sites.
Escalations don't have a respawn.
Exactly.
You see, the thing is, you say this. I did make a comment on Reddit the other day that well, we don't know what the respawn timers are for the old Arc and Bistot sites. Technically, it could be 200% faster than whatever that bullshit is.
There you go.
And he's then
They
technically not lied to us.
Don't give them an out. That's their fault.
They respawn 200%. They respawn 200% faster than the existing wormhole ore deposits.
Yeah. Well, I'd specifically make it a null site, but yes.
And he did say then existing sites, not those existing sites or, the existing sites or the same existing sites. He's just saying existing sites. So it could be existing sites anywhere.
And a reminder, same thing as ratting. Only about 50% of the game can support one of these shitty upgrades with nothing else in there other than maybe sticking a teeny tiny minor threat one in there or a Sino beacon or something because they're low power, right? So these mining upgrades are the second most expensive thing you can put in, and they are objectively worse than everything else. So we lose out on 4 belts of ore. We lose out on almost all the other systems. We lose out on half the game losing its ore, and then losing most of the ore that's in the systems that can have it. And the value of the belt is so ass. Like, it's just a nerf. And people are like, the few people who are like trying to cope, like they just haven't accepted that this is just bad, are like, yeah, but you can get exactly what you want. I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. If I want to, I can get exactly what I want in Poshfen. I can get everything I want in Poshfen. Unlimited, technically.
The other question is, like, even if you couldn't get exactly what you want in the old system, was it possible that in actual fact you may not have gotten exactly what you want, but you probably would have gotten as much as this kind of system plus other sort of random shit, right?
And you could have, and we would trade it with low sec and high sec, and you just trade around. Yeah. I'm not saying it was a good per se, but if you look at it, like, low sec is still, if you want isogen, like, low sec is still very consistent to get isogen. The crokites and the ochre sites and all the sites that spawn the stuff that we want spawns at a reasonable rate in low sec. It's not every day, it's not every site or every system, but there are people who are out there a couple times a week that mine it consistently, and they make a ton of money.
I mean,
look,
it's a fucking shit show.
This is going to continue as it has for years.
Serum, there you won't lose out on Arcanor Bistot, and the reason why is there is always an Arcanor Bistot deposit in every single nullsec system because of a change during scarcity. Because they took all the belts. This is another, like, how did we get here moment, right? Half the belts they decided to remove from the game because they were like, oh, no one's using them. Ha. So they just removed half the belts from nullsec asteroid belts. And people were like, how are we going to do our ADMs if we have no belts? We can't start mining upgrades if we don't have belts to start the mining levels. And there's no moons in some of these systems. They're like, oh, okay. So they put in these tiny, small Arcanor Bistot sites that respawn every 4 hours. And they're in every single nullsec system. There is not a problem for Megasite. There will never be a problem for Megasite. And anytime someone says, let's put Megasite upgrades in, I'm like, why? You're wasting our time. Anyways, continue. That's not personal.
Dawn.
What?
This has been going on for years.
I know.
This has been going on in one form or another for at least 15 years. It will continue to go on until most of nullsec, if not all of it, wakes up and does the only thing that will actually get CCP to react.
Which is literally...
Stop paying.
Either stop paying or go figure out what is the highest earning stuff and literally move there en masse and use the fuck out of it.
No,
there's nothing to abuse.
That's not gonna.
No, there is something to abuse, but you know.
No, Mac, that's not gonna change CCP's approach. They're still gonna play whack-a-mole, and they're still gonna be using a fucking shotgun to try to do it.
And you know what's funny? I was like listening to
If you
an
want
Oz...
them to actually get the shit straightened out,
Yeah.
then CCP needs to suddenly not have the money for all of Hilmar's other bullshit projects.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why it is so hard for CCP to just be like, here's something good. Enjoy. You can change it later. Like, let's say in a year, it's like,
So-
maybe we need to do some adjustments. That's fine at that point, like really let it play out. They are so scared of giving us anything positive. Just flat out, just positive.
I'm
Like-
not gonna say that the game devs should give people everything they want. Game devs have to be very stingy when they give out anything good. Anytime you give the players something, if you make it too good, if you give them a little bit too much and it screws up game balance, then the moment you try to dial it back, you are suddenly the worst thing since the Spanish Inquisition. So they have to go slow when giving stuff.
But they don't make
But they
it
need
better.
to be careful. And they need to make sure they're actually doing that. As opposed to just, well, we're going to start off with this terrible new baseline and then we can inflate from there. That never works.
Well, that's because we know that they're not going to. Like, literally, they ignored Poshfin for a year and a half, touched it, almost killed it, and then they were like, okay, we're just going to put it back as is.
Yeah,
And then everyone was like,
well,
okay, great, just fuck off.
The reason why that happened is because so many people complained, and for some reason, someone in that in Poshfin, complained enough or to the right person to have them basically, redact.
No,
all
it
that.
was-
Well,
it was
or
a-
just basically move
it was
those
a
sort
bunch
of
of-
changes back.
Manchita, that position on buffs versus nerfs is actually pretty much been my position since watching how it worked in WoW. You have to be careful with your buffs. If you buff things too much, then you've got to dial it back for game balance. And anytime you're taking things away from players, they're gonna get pissed off. Well, CCP's trying to take things away from players. They're getting pissed off. I mean, it's...
They're taking away
simple.
shit. That's the worst part.
And
This
they're
is
doing,
shit.
but that's the
And
thing.
they're giving us
issue is
worse
They're doing
shit.
it badly. They're
No,
doing
the
it
issue is
badly
that
and
they
in an
are
unbalanced
only
way.
they are only taking it away from like a set of players, right? Only like half of the game is getting nerfed. The
Yeah.
other
All right, I gotta
half.
go to my game.
Yeah,
Have
because-
fun, guys.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Which and the thing with that is because this game is very antagonistic in various from groups of players that situate themselves in certain places versus other players who situate themselves in other places. If you nerf one, you don't nerf the other. The other side is gonna basically look very kindly to those nerfs, and so it makes
Right.
it seem
But the problem
to a
problem
developer as though it's probably a good change because there's an equal number of
'Cause
people
they're
who
getting-
hate it and
well,
an equal
that's-
number who like it.
the problem there is that CCP's developers are human. When they hear voices that are validating what they're doing, that's who they're listening to.
And they
Because
trust that
that's how
more than they
people-
trust those.
That's how
Yeah.
people react. People
Yeah.
get validation. They trust the validation more than the skeptics. That's just how humanity is. But the problem with trying to balance null versus trying to balance the whole game at once, which would be a massive, ridiculously large undertaking that they have to actually do. The problem is that no part of Eve is isolated. So if they're not rebalancing everything all at once in one shot, none of this, well, we'll take all this stuff away bit by bit and then we'll, maybe
So,
put
I
some
will-
stuff back a little here. You have to do it all at once. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Okay, sorry there, Manchita.
I want
look,
to address something quick.
players only have one bit of leverage, and that's wallet.
It is.
So, deep in chat saying you're talking to the most salty Eve players ever. Eve is fairly good, can improve, but it isn't bad. Only the dug-in player base can't adjust.
So
There's no
so
adjusting here.
there's an issue. I have an issue with it.
Matt.
Okay,
Matt.
all right, go for it.
I want to get to this without trying to shout because that's what I was getting called over.
Go for it.
Only the dug-in players can't adjust. There's no adjusting. CCP have actively torn. I believe the maths works out to be about 80% of ore out of null.
Yeah,
It's not going to sustain itself. It's not going to be sustainable even when relying on other parts of the game.
Right.
There will not be war.
The other part of, only the most dug-in players can't adapt. The most dug-in players in the environment you're talking about are the ones with the best support network, which means they're the ones who are going to have access most quickly to the optimal solution to this. They'll adapt better.
Yes, Serenity. The maths works out to be about 80% of null ore is gone. Like that. Admittedly, that's only once the full switch happens. Right now, a lot of us are relying on keeping the old iHubs in. So we're not going to let that change happen.
Yeah, this is extrapolated out from what we've seen so far, right? If you
Yes.
take what we've seen so far, you apply it to all of nullsec, like
J5s. That's why they
just
nerfed
flick the switch.
That's why they nerfed the respawn on the ratting sites.
Yes.
Sorry?
Because gun mining was about to become a thing. So they
nerfed. To be fair, I mentioned it last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. that was everybody saw that was coming.
I was mentioning
they're gonna do the gun mining thing. Yeah, let's fuck that shit.
Eden Trade, I'm going to address you as well. You heard this 100 times after exchange. Yeah, you might have heard it a little bit, but I feel
like somebody may have also read a Reddit. May have also read a Reddit thread that said something like along the lines of, here's a few years, here's a bunch of years, going up to where we are now, and here's a bunch of things that players have kind of said, oh, it's going to die.
You see, here's the thing. What we're looking at is 2020, 2021 again. Actually, no, it was before that, sorry. 2019-ish. What we are looking at is Scarcity 1.0 brought back, and if anyone remembers what Scarcity 1.0 did, it took us to a 12k PCU. The game almost died. The only reason Eve survived was because we had a war. We had tests declare war on goons, and we had all the shit show that went on in Delph.
Also, not to, inject actual politics in something where somebody's invoked actual politics, but Eden Trade, have you checked the actual record temperatures for the last 2 years?
Yeah. I didn't want to address that one.
He might have been a little off on the timing, but I don't think he was off too much.
Yeah, Manchi, I mean, that is the main point. It is kind of being straw manned. But at the same time, if we hit 12k PCU again and don't have a war, I don't want to make a prediction, but
and the reason why
I'd suggest people look up.
The reason why the war was so, significant was not down to, we need to go down to Delve and period basis and queries to take all of that space, because if we don't, we won't have enough minerals and other and ratting areas in order to actually make money. It wasn't that kind of war. It was an ideological war about the extermination of goons essentially being run out of the game. And so when you have an ideological game like war,
the war because Villy got told no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that wasn't a war because of minerals. That wasn't a war for scarcity and whatever stupid ideals CCP had that they thought were going to drive war. So. That was, I'm not going to say it was because Villy was told no or because PGL wanted to say fuck goons or whatever. Whatever reasons, I don't care. It happened, and I'm bloody glad it happened, because it kind of dragged players back into the game and got us fighting. It got us active. It got us doing stuff. And the PCU stuck around afterwards. Luckily. If we don't have a war like that again, if we go into scarcity for a second time, PCU's not clawing back.
Yeah,
And
I'm with
screaming
streaming
COVID
PCs.
as well. That is a fair one.
There was COVID as well, yeah, to be fair.
Yeah,
I think the war and COVID
everybody's
was a
stuck
nice mix
inside.
of. But yes, well, I mean, same argument applies to COVID, right? If we don't have a second pandemic to save Eve,
Yeah, there we go. With that's it. That's it. We need
right.
We need a second COVID in order to save Eve.
also
that is an extreme situation.
Let's just drop the entire thought thread about pandemic saving Eve, because otherwise Horde and PL are just going to get swelled heads, and
You know what? Let them, because that might start the war that we need as well around this.
Yeah, and if you guys like want to see Eve offline, like this is COVID. This is the decline to the lowest PCU we've ever had. Right there.
Well, that's the highest point we had after.
Yeah. And then
the decline afterwards, but also the decline before.
There was a decline here, but like,
well, the longer graph kind of hides it. But we had a horrible decline where we hit 12K some evenings. And when I say evenings, I mean evenings UK time, right?
Yeah.
Which should be EU USTZ peak. When we would nowadays have 30K on, and before we'd have 30K on, and historically we'd have 45K on.
Hang on a second. Higher brand. So as somebody who has not been in leadership circles for like 2+ years now, but was when all this went down, let me just tell you, Village started a war because Test was at war with Frat, and he wanted the Imperium to come east when we were already fighting Horde over, the western side of the map, and got told no. So he stopped that war and started a new one. It wasn't about us becoming dominant. It was about Mitten said no.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you're seeing the evil flying graph, like, other than the big drops, which is basically like downtime, like you've got like 11,800, something like that.
Man-Cheater, that was the war that he started before that one.
Yeah.
That was the last time he was in GSF and started a war. Oh dear. It's just like we are slowly on a decline if these changes go through.
Yeah,
and
because
Deep's going on his argument, but it's not about a new meta. There is no new meta under this system. It's just 80% of war is gone.
So, the way I kind of see it is like, we've had this long running sort of period where we can see, the concurrent user base of the game all the way back, right? And we can tell that like there is obviously this, this sizable area right here in the sort of 2009 to 2015 where it was at its kind of peak.
Yep.
Right. We are sitting now like 35 to sub 30 kind of range, in the last year kind of thing. So it makes sense that like somebody would kind of go, well, what was CCP doing back then that they're not doing now that could, bring a resurgence of that kind of player base back, right? My issue, and one of the reasons why the show is named like how it is that I think because Ratati's a numbers kind of person, he's like gone back to look at the numbers that they have back then for like, you know, the economy and all this kind of all that kind of sort of stuff, right? Now, I don't know what CCP's like the data that they have from back then, how like conclusive it is. But if it's anything like the conclusive amount of the conclusive data that they brought out in quarterly economic reports and, you know, MERs, right? There's some fucking gaping assholes in that data, which I think people are. I think people maybe at CCP are forgetting that there are, and just going with it. And you know, it's not really seeming to actually work out how they believe it to. And I think what's going on is Ratati is just kind of like going, well, we just haven't changed enough. We just haven't changed enough at this point in time, right? There is like there's some worrying stuff, right? So this goes back to 2000. This is one of the few graphs on the MER that goes back to 2004, right? So you see things like, you know, this is the consumer price index, the mineral price index, primary and secondary, right? Like one of the main ones that is stand out compared to, you know, back in the, you know, 2009 to 2015 kind of era, right? Is the mineral price index, which is, you know, is basically that, right? You know, not quite too sure what happened in 2012 to sort of up that mineral price index at that point. Like that's when the mineral price index goes up, it means that there is less stuff. I think maybe that was when drone alloys were taken out, potentially. Does that make a bit of sense? 2012 drone alloys?
I don't know. That's before me.
Either way, right? You can kind of see where this is at, and you know, a lot of the mineral price index kind of plays into how much like T1 produced items generally tend to cost, right? You know, your standard T1 ships, all that kind of stuff, right? It's down in the, you know, I'm not quite sure what the y-axis is meant to be in terms of like, I don't know. Either way, right? It's down in this kind of range, right? Between 70 and 120. Where we're at right now is up here. Like fucking up here in the 260 range. That's fucking broken.
Yep.
That's horrendously broken. And that
Don't go
started
bringing me into this.
and that started 2020.
Yeah. Scarcity.
Which,
well, scarcity was slightly before, but yes.
But it was but we were getting told that this was coming, right? This wasn't like, oh, by the way, guys, scarcity is here. You know, we were being told that, you know, that CCP was going to be changing up a whole bunch of things, etc., right? And you know, this was apparently to remove a lot of minerals that have been, that, you know, kind of drove this index down, you know, to that kind of particular point. And that is mostly down to, you know, to Rorquals, which I would like to point out to everybody out there, that we said was a bad change, and we said that if they didn't change it, that we would abuse it. And they said, well, if you do abuse it, we will change it, and we will nerf it down. And we said, fine, fair enough, but we told you that, like, this is a bad change, and they went and did it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
wait, when has that happened?
right. But that was also when injectors came in as well, like skill extractors and injectors came in as well. So
I mean,
there's also a whole bunch of issues with that, which has affected.
The other thing that gets me, just it's funny, looking at the mineral price index, right?
Yeah.
Rorquals were pushing it down.
Yeah. That's
yet clearly on that graph,
mm-hmm.
It was only really returning to what it had historically been in what?
2011,
2007? Well, 2007 through 2012.
Yeah, like from 07 to 12, which was
a
really good point.
I mean,
like
it's a bit
you go
longer
back
than
to
that, yeah.
you go back to 2007, 2000 to anything from 07 to 12.
Why
that's
do I get
there.
the feeling the game was really healthy back then?
That's because from a numbers point and a concurrent players perspective, it was.
Yeah.
Rogue, that's actually a very significant point that Dirk and I went to great pains to make to Rattati when they were ramping up for Scarcity 1.0, is that you need to do more than just take away the ability to make the big ships. Yep. You don't even really want to take away the ability to make the big ships. You need to make the big ships less necessary, but also more useful.
Yeah.
Give us reasons to throw them away and make them something we feel we can throw away.
It's the give us reasons to put them in space. Don't give us reasons to just have them dock up because they're useless at this point in time.
Except for maintaining SOV.
Yeah.
Like if they're necessary for maintaining SOV, we're not going to risk them unless we absolutely have to. That's just how it goes.
Not just that, but you're also not going to need to risk them to maintain SOV if the enemy don't risk theirs to take your SOV.
Exactly. So they need to be less essential and more.
Yeah. And you see the thing
useful.
is, and you see it says like a Screen PC sort of says like, make Titan ratting great again. Yes. The issue that we had with Titan ratting previously was the fact that you could just light a signer on your Titan and bring in backup like instantly, right? Yeah, fair enough. Now you kind of have to have an ult there ready with a recon, with a force recon or a regular recon kind of to light that Sino in order to bring the backup. But that still is pretty damn easy to do, to be completely honest. And anybody who has a super will have will have many ults to be able to do something like that on. The issue, the thing that that you need more kind of, you need more jeopardy, right? Which means that you need to have sites where it's valuable and effective to rat in a Titan, but also a site kind of like a dead space pocket where you can't light sinos, where you have to bring backup in the old-fashioned way, right? But also a site that means that you can't just escape really easily because it takes ages for people coming in to interdict you to get there. So
you see this.
I'll be honest, and this is something that isn't actually connected to the new changes or anything. It's just something that talking about those old discussions with Rattati brought back to my mind. I am still really in favor of basically setting up a bunch of well-advertised, this is what they're going to be for in the future changes, and then doing a super capital tournament or something so that people feel like they've got a reason to go ahead and lose their shit ahead of those changes.
Yeah.
And
there's also that.
And just make the new use for super capitals things like, your super carriers aren't really so much combat vessels as jump fortizars or something, and Titans are these massive mobile emplacements that just kind of drop in, and then that's the thing you want to destroy on the battlefield. But
I want to address something as well. Why did Titan ratting ever become a needed thing?
It might be. It very much might be.
Yeah.
Look, if I had all the answers, then I'd be making my own game.
Very true.
Yeah. So, why did Titan ratting ever become a needed thing in EVE? And do we all agree it's a thing EVE needs? It didn't become a needed thing. It became something you do instead of putting a fucking AFK Ishtar in a site.
Yeah, you put an AFK Titan in the site.
it became something that
well,
was
you didn't put an AFK Titan U boson there. Right?
it became
Or-
something that was viable because it was affordable to do, and the thing that the amount that you got out from it was just about enough to for somebody who could potentially afford to replace that Titan to go, you know what, I can I can technically afford to replace it, but I can use it, and I bought it to use it, so I might as well use it as well in PvE.
Yeah, it was a fun alternative that was just profitable enough to feel like you could get away with it.
Yeah.
That's all.
It ties back into the conversation and the meme I had earlier, right, of we are on the verge of greatness. We had Thunderchild writing about to start. The meta was going to swap to all about clear times on sites.
I was watching.
They just nerfed it to take it back to stupid fucking AFK Ishtars.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone seems to love that.
And you know what? I actually did purchase.
It's not that
I did
everyone loves
repurchase
AFK Ishtars. It's
I'm taking the piss.
They're familiar with it. You know?
I just and the funny thing is the funny thing is I recently repurchased a bunch of smart bombs for a smart bomb running fit, like without thinking about Thunderchilds and thinking like, oh, that's much more like ISK efficient way of running those sites really fucking quickly. And it was really kind of funny because I was watching Ozzy's like a stream from him last weekend where he was literally talking about Thundercharts and how all of these all of these ships seem to be on the up in terms of like the cost and purchasing and all that kind of thing. Not really kind of saying, I wonder why that might be. Obviously, if you know what's going on in Null and you knew before, and you thought that like, oh, the instant respawn is not going to go away, kind of like how I thought it wasn't going to go away. People were purchasing it, and even purchasing the smaller versions. The not the Thunderchilds, but the other ones. Yeah. So some of the medium sized ones to run, the lower end sites for the 3/10s and stuff like that, right? But the large battleship Thunderchilds to run Havens, and so that was the uptick that you saw in all of the graphs and all of the sort of market data that Ozzy kind of showed last week.
Yeah,
I would be interested to see how he reacts to that this week or today, because his stream is today at some point.
Yeah. So I mean, he's still saying it isn't needed, but it was viable. But it's a thing. It isn't a thing that should be. As to Titan Run, sure, it shouldn't be. Maybe CCP shouldn't have fucking created a scenario where that was a thing. Maybe they should have, for the first time in 20 years, upgraded Null Anons. Because they've done everywhere else's.
Yeah.
They've been sitting on the possibility to do this for... when did Pirate Fobs come in around us? 2016? 2017?
Yeah, around there.
Nearly a decade they've had this. They've done Pirate Fobs, they've done Trig stuff, they've now done new low-sec sites, they've done changes to wormhole sites, I think.
Would be cool, Symbiotes.
Comet mining would be cool. They've put all these ideas forward. They put this technology forward.
Fucking ice fields with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've done everywhere else.
Wow, that's a
and they've ignored
cynically almost certain accurate assessment there, Ibrand.
Yeah, it is a lot of work, and it's time for. Honestly, I remember.
But you know what they could do. You know what they could do, and it's been said by CSMers that this has been something that has been an ongoing process for CCP for a fair number of years at this point in time. Is CCP have been reworking a whole bunch of things in order to provide more finite, more sort of granular control of various different things. So they could tune it slightly, a lot more carefully and a lot more in a much more fine kind of way, right? Maybe if you like redid nullsec routing sites, you could add that kind of control of
Compatibility.
granular control to it, so you're able to sort of, you know, change it up and, you know, maybe even add some stuff that, like, add some aspects to it that, you know, morphs or changes the sites depending on certain parameters that are dynamic around the area, right?
Yeah, I
It's an
mean,
interesting idea, but then you've got
No
sites
worries,
where
Jimmy.
you're perfectly safe. Because
they
the
don't
only
need
way
to be
you're
safe. You
keeping
could chase someone in, right?
right, but the only way you're keeping the multi-boxers out of those is to have a limit of how many people can be in them. And if there's a limit on how many people can be in them, you just
You'll
put that
fill
many
it and
people
you'll
in
block
them.
there. I mean, I know once I advocated for a site where you go in and once you're on field, you're committed and you guarantee to lose your ship, right? But you're just going to make a bunch of ISK in return. Or, I mean, we had the other talk of tags.
What keeps us from doing payouts similar to incursions? Because then you have a reason not to, like, fill the site.
I mean, that would be. You see, this is what gets me. They have the ability to do this. I wouldn't even say incursion stuff. I'd say use the newer trig AI and systems that they've built in Pokven. Yeah, the Screaming PC says it, like OFs in Pokven. You put something like that in null.
Said my fate. You are. I'm so glad that we moved to Pokemon in this conversation.
Well, yeah, I'm not touching what you're going to touch.
Dude,
I mean, know what you want to go for, but yes, like, you know, you put a version of that in null, and you put 7 or 8 people, you make it a group activity, or a multi-boxed activity, but you limit the amount that can do it. And you'd have new sites that are fun and engaging, and the Ishtar meta would be dead, and there would be no need for boson ratting, because you'd actually have engaging content, not warp site, turn boson on, blow rats up, boom, done, rinse, repeat. But like, that's the only reason why AFK Ishtars are a thing, or VNIs were, or MERMs, because it's so fucking boring. That you just sit it in the site and leave it.
Yeah, like, honestly, most to almost all levels of PvE, like, I aside from 1 or 2 that are really new that I haven't actually tried, have all been really fucking boring to me. I've lost interest so fast.
I mean, that's fine. And, you know, JLo says a similar comment of engaging PvE is an oxymoron. It's personal preference, right? Some people it is going to be, but at the same time, when I was doing emerging conduits during the early days when they come in, and you had to actually have a couple ships on field, and you had to have Logi because they were fucking powerful. Yeah, that was actually quite engaging. That was fun. I'm sure after a decade it would get boring, but don't leave it a decade.
Yeah. So I'm wondering whether I should, like, clue everybody into some bit of information that I figured out recently. I did post it in our staff chat, so you guys probably know it, unless you skipped over it, sort of thing. But you know, a lot of people who don't live in nullsec, you know, generally tend to sort of, you know, look at this sort of, you know, what's going on in nullsec, and people kind of complaining about it in a sort of like, you know, I'll just grow up, you know, stop complaining and just grind kind of thing. Because apparently we have some kind of infinite money tree in nullsec that for whatever reason I don't seem to see. And pretty much everybody, it seems, in nullsec doesn't seem to see. But I can tell you one place that does seem to have an infinite money tree.
Look, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I've got all the infinite money from nullsec. I've been siphoning it out of the game completely, okay? So, I'm sorry.
Highbrand, you're close, but it's not Abyssals. It's Pokfen. Screaming was there. Would it like, so we have some data from the MER that we can kind of make a bit of a sort of an estimate as to how wealthy or how much wealth kind of comes out of nullsec versus, say, Pokfin, right? When we're talking about this, like we have absolute numbers, obviously, but when you're sort of saying like how much money you're going to get by sitting in a decent nullsec system, ratting versus how much money you're going to make sitting in a Pokfin city, a Pokfin system and ratting, doing various different sites, right? We can average that stuff out, right? Because we have stuff like bounty prizes, we have stuff like main bank auto payment amounts, right? So this like latest MER, June 2024, has the bounty prizes and the ESS main bank basically making over the entirety of EVE, in actual fact. It's not just nullsec, it's also lowsec and highsec. But bounty prize plus the ESS main bank makes around about 69.7 trillion ISK a month, right? This month, at least. That is a lot. But then again, you have to remember that there is a lot of nullsec space, right? A lot of nullsec space. So when you divide that number by the amount of nullsec space that we have, where's my numbers?
It's like what, 4 systems?
You get about 21.159 billion ISK per month out of an average on average out of a nullsec system. It's actually probably less because the bounty prizes are included in the data, which I can't separate out from nullsec and lowsec and highsec. So we're also talking about bounties from lowsec and from highsec as well in that kind of thing, right? So you take those out, it's going to be lower than that, right? So 21.159 billion per system averaged out, right? Do you want to know how much Pokfin does?
No.
On average per system?
No, we don't want to know.
You probably shouldn't want to know.
Probably 1 trillion per system.
Very close. Getting close to 750 billion. It's 714.8 billion per system.
Yeah.
Which is,
sounds about right.
In terms of the density of ISK that's coming out of a single system in Pokfin versus a density of ISK that's coming out of a single system in nullsec, is 37.7 times the amount of ISK coming out of an average Pokfin system versus out of an average nullsec system. I wonder who needs to be nerfed more.
Well, consider the amount of players in each region of space as well. And yes, whilst destruction per system is probably higher in Pok than null.
I keep saying this pretty much every time CCP touches anything. Sweeping nerfs across the board is bad game design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You should be bringing up the stuff that is lacking instead of nerfing down the stuff that is apparently working fine for players and is fun.
Exactly. Because we at the end of the day, what we want to do is have fun with playing, in teams or, with our friends in this game. And if doing some of the money making stuff means that we have to spend more time doing that to just kind of break even in terms of doing sort of fun, exciting PvP stuff, then
the
at
way
some
to
point,
approach it, Soth, is not you need to bring up the stuff that's not working. That's not the way to go. It's not you're bringing up the stuff that's not working. What you need to be doing, if there's stuff that's being overly used, like the money coming out of Podge, all right? If there's stuff that's being focused on like that, generally speaking, that's happening because it's a proven and solved system. But the way to the way to diffuse that, and I agree it's not nerf that, just like it's not nerf the mining in null. What you want to do is you want to give players more options that are fun. Like,
Yeah,
other than the bots, if you had the options of making your money by doing something you hate, or making 3/4 of as much money by doing something you actually enjoy, which one are you going to do?
Yeah, but we're not talking about 3/4. We're talking about like a quarter of the money, right?
Right. I'm not saying that, you know, null's in a good place. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that the way you motivate people to get into your sustainable systems is you give them options they enjoy rather than just what works by rote. Which is the problem. CCP always winds up with, well, what works by rote? Just keep redoing the same goddamn thing over and over again.
I mean, I completely agree with you, because that's the correct direction with which to, you know, design a game around, right? I'm just saying that, like, I was just saying, like, with regards to giving the example of Pogfin versus nullsec, right? Was, you know, if you're going about sort of like nerfing nullsec the way that it seems as though CCP and specifically Rotati kind of seems to want to, if he's doing it with like numbers and statistics and stuff, he's missing out a whole bunch of stuff. Well, because it doesn't seem to be sort of
screaming,
like
that's
screaming
only true for
out
some
at,
players,
like, you know, from like the data that they seem to present, right? And I'll show you what I mean, right? Because
Matt, go look at the fucking MER, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the MER.
For mining.
For mining specifically.
There's a nice little graph.
Which like mining
by security of space. I believe it's further up.
Destruction versus mining? Production versus destruction versus mining?
I believe it's the one you just went past.
Asteroid or volume mined by time?
No, up.
By region?
I believe it's the by time one, actually, saying that. Yes, you might be right.
Or volume mined by time.
It's split by security status.
Yeah. I've got it.
Sorry, I was using the stream to kind of guide it, and you're on a delay. So I was
we have a bit of a delay there. Yeah. Well, all right.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that. I mean, how much mining is HiSec doing?
It won't.
That's
like equivalent, basically.
Yeah, like the fuck.
It's somewhat equivalent.
And also, where's
this
on that? Because I'd like to know. I'd like them to show the Pogfin numbers because I know what they are. And
yeah. This is volume. This isn't value either.
No. I know. It's just
and this is one of the other things is like you're not showing value
because
either.
It pays. It's familiar and you understand it. It's something that you can do low effort, and it pays. And that means that the effort is not enough to make it not fun. Even if it's baseline not fun, it's not excessively onerous. Let me put it that way. So if they gave you a better option, if they gave you an option that didn't pay quite as much, but was actually fun, you'd probably wind up doing that.
So also one of these things as well, and this is another interesting kind of like, you know, little bit of, you know, summation of data for key economic figures, right? The important thing here is key, right? Key economic figures. Okay, and this is another sort of example as to why I think CCP are missing or just like ham-fisting data, and because of that, they're missing key like aspects of you know, whether a certain area of space is doing more than it you know it seems to be, right? Obviously, you have Delve here with high destruction numbers, high mining value, high NPC bounties and high production because, Fortress Delve, right? And this was the economic dream that was developed by Goonswarm and has been implemented and continues to be implemented and continues to show results, right? Which is something that, I'm not joking here, can be replicated almost anywhere else in nullsec to the same degree, to the same margins, if not better.
Anymore.
If not better.
Not anymore.
Well, with the new system, not really. But,
Right.
having a significant defensive umbrella that defends against people coming in and using all of that all of the minerals and all of the wealth that's generated from underneath that umbrella to build and develop your space, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Delve sticks out like a sore thumb in this, but that's because you have a large group of people who have, really trained themselves very well in and organized themselves very well in making this area of space prosper, right?
Yes.
That can be done almost anywhere. In actual fact, in certain places in Dronelands, you could do better than this because you actually have areas of Dronelands that, you can put more systems under a single umbrella, a single supercap umbrella, in order to defend space.
Okay,
right?
hang on a sec, Mac.
But what I'm saying is, like, they actually have specifically here, right? They actually have Pokfin here, right? Pokfin. The interesting thing is,
Mac,
in NPC bounties, there is fucking 0.0 trillion ISK here. And that's a problem because someone can look at that and go, well, Pokfin doesn't, you don't need to worry about like money, like ISK money coming out of Pokfin or going into players' wallets in Pokfin. But as we had said previously, that is clearly not the fucking case, right?
Okay, Mac.
Right.
Chill a minute, all right?
All right.
To the conversation going on in chat right now.
Yeah, okay.
The reason that nullsec is not visibly more dangerous, and the reason why nullsec players feel highsec is more dangerous than they're part of nullsec, is because guess what? You've got nullsec, and you've also got lots of people actively working to protect one another. That's an investment of constant effort.
Exactly.
It's also that nullsec players usually don't interact with the systems in highsec, so they don't understand them.
No,
stop.
It's not even a lack of understanding. It's the very simple fact that the way nullsec is set up, you can tell if somebody comes in and they're not your friend. If somebody comes into your system in highsec, you won't know that they're not your friend until they're shooting your barge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. At which point, the amount of time that it takes for you to get help, it's too late. It's far too. It takes far too long. You will be dead, and the person who killed you will be out and leaving before the actual help comes. So,
well, yes, but whoever is attacking you will also be dead.
I mean, yeah,
even in low-sec, because you can't keep neutrals from living in the same system you're in low-sec.
Yeah.
And you don't know if those neutrals are dangerous. You don't know if those are just guys who want to be mining. So that's why nullsec feels safer to nullsec residents, because you can control who gets in, and anybody that isn't supposed to be there is clearly identified as a threat. But that takes lots of constant effort by a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, people are bitching about, standing fleets. Yeah, which means that people have to be willing to sit there and just wait, protecting other people. You're basically complaining about people having to play Concord waiting for someone to gank somebody.
And to Bill saying that wormholes keep their stuff in highsec is complete bullshit. No, it's not. I've played in wormholes for long enough to know that quite a bit is kept in highsec. or at least
stuff's kept in
somewhere
high sec.
safe.
Some
You
stuff
only
is kept
bring in what you
high
can
sec.
really afford.
Yeah,
To
what
run
you,
at
what
the
you can
time.
afford to run, what you can afford to lose, and to
Yeah,
be
but
fair,
how is that different? How is that different from anywhere else? You only fly
Well-
what you can afford to lose.
well,
Yeah. The
I mean-
argument being made is that wormholes are more dangerous because wormholes don't have asset safety. Yeah, they don't have asset safety as we know it, but freighters, that there is informal
Al-
asset
also-
safety
also-
done.
also most of also null, like you don't get to choose to sort of say, oh yeah, no, I want to turn off that Stargate.
Yeah.
Whereas you can roll a hole.
Yeah, you can doorstop a
You know, and
system
you can doorstop systems.
before you go running C5 anomalies and be perfectly safe.
And to be fair with this conversation, you can't roll, or it becomes extremely difficult, almost nigh like pointless to try and roll frigate holes, right? So normally frigate holes are the ones that people keep eyes on and just leave there as is. But chances are, if you're flying and making ISK in an ISK hole, then one, you've got eyes. Two, you actually have the sound on because you can actually hear people coming through before you actually sort of tab over and see it, right? And thirdly, because of that, you're in a situation where you're probably going to be safing up or getting out into a safe spot and cloaking up before you're actually caught. So it's the level of safety is actually a lot higher in wormholes, in ranning holes specifically, than a lot of people kind of claim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Daddy, consider this.
You're
What
talking to
you're
Daddy in
looking
chat,
at-
not me.
Yes.
Okay.
I would never call you anything
I
even
always
vaguely
feel like this is a
resembling
bit
that.
weird.
Daddy Deep, just consider this. You're talking about whether or not this space should be the most profitable. But how are you measuring your profitability? Compare how many people that money's being spread across versus how many people the money in a given potch system is being spread across. Once you're looking at per capita, nobody's saying should be the most profitable, but per capita and per investment of man hour, it should at least be competitive.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that's the argument I was about to kind of make is,
but
I don't even want it to be the most
because-
profitable.
Because you're not going to get that broken out as per capita per man hour. You're not going to get that. It's going to look ridiculously more profitable because just as a ballpark, goons have what, 25, 30,000 characters living in Delve?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, alts and all that kind of, and time zone wise.
Right,
Yeah,
but
yeah. They do, yeah.
I don't even get his next comment. That's nonsensical.
But the important thing is
so
creating safe space in
the thing
nullsec
about bad
requires
space versus good space,
No,
I do
we have
understand
that
sort of.
with
I do
TrueSec.
understand sort of what you're saying there, but at the same time, keep in mind that where it's supposed to be, what's supposed to make it bad, okay? What's supposed to make nullsec bad space is the fact that it's not safe for regular people. Unfortunately, that makes it profitable space because that's pirates. That's the motherfuckers you're getting bounties on.
Yeah. And to
That's
be fair,
what makes it, quote, bad.
to be
space.
fair, I wholly, well, I wouldn't say encourage, but like, I've been hoping that CCP would, go into that aspect of nullsec space and make it more immersive, make it more interesting, make it more, unique and interesting, and have those pirate space that those areas that NPC pirates fly around in that we're getting bounties off to actually push back at us a lot harder and a lot more aggressively than they do at the moment. Because right now it's just a case, it's laughable in terms of the amount of their ships that we kill constantly, right?
And yes, setting up and maintaining
absurd.
Sov is a massive investment, as
It is,
Jado
yeah.
points out. Like, just not even all of the infrastructure to make it work. Okay,
And not even all the ISK. Like, we're also talking time
and
investment.
This is
putting down
Yeah.
just putting down the iHub, okay? Like on the now old system,
Yeah.
just putting down the iHub isn't just, well, you had to pay for the iHub. Once you've got the iHub down, congratulations, you're getting bills every month. You have to keep paying. Every upgrade increases the bills in every system. So
And I have it on good authority and been, listening to, and watching Shines as well, like watching Shines go through the new system as well. And, he's
it came from 20 years of work.
Yeah, exactly. And watching Shines is like streams on, how the new system can be implemented and how it's, how you have to micromanage all of that kind of stuff. It is far more complex, far more like, just a load of just aggravating, almost nonsensical kind of work to get that even to a point
Sure, Bill,
where
Null
it's
did
like,
provide it. Null provided it in.
Sorry?
I'm talking to Bill Nosby there.
Oh, right. Okay.
Null did provide that stuff, but Null provided it at times when Null was more profitable, and people retain all that stuff.
Yeah, we're coasting on what we had from back then.
This is
What
basically
the system is now will not sustain us for more than 5 years.
No, it won't.
Yeah,
It won't.
this is all stuff that,
And you have to. I have to wonder.
I don't want to stop you guys from
But we are
ranting
4
on and
minutes
on and on.
into-
Yeah.
No, I've
Yes,
noticed. I've noticed.
Yes, you do. You and your
Yeah, I
damn
kinda do.
German efficiency.
I kind of do, yes.
We have to finish exactly on time, or this is a
Okay,
serious issue.
I'm gonna use my one last thing then
Go
to
for it.
answer Rogue Serenity's question. Honestly, I think his response would probably have to be somewhere along the lines of, "Eat my ass."
Yeah.
I mean, I know what Mitani potentially would get the Imperium to do in this situation. I'm not going to say it, but like, it would be a super fucking ballsy move. It would be fucking hilarious, and it would make so much fucking money until the taps were turned off and we went back to our regular scheduled program. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that. Shut the fuck up.
Look, there's at least one Discord server where I was explicitly told, "God damn it, stop giving CCP ideas."
No.
Oh, God. All right, Bard, your one last thing.
I
What do you
don't
think?
even know what it is. I mean, I'm at the point of apathy at this point.
I get the apathy thing, but yeah.
If we hit 6 months and we hit the forced transition of this, there is 80% of null ore is gone. But that's not a meta change. That's a fundamental change in how the game works. That there is no meta change to. That's just shit's gone. Lol. Have fun having no wars anymore because no one can replace what they're losing.
See, I think the thing is,
not even fucking Provi could replace what they're losing under the new system.
Yeah, I think the thing is right is coming from an ecosystems engineer sort of perspective, and like trying to figure out Eve and how to sort of make it go back to the times where it was actually really, really good, and there were a lot of people kind of playing, right? Aside from all of the fucking data that's fallen through all the fucking cheese grated level amounts of holes that were going on back then, right? If you're looking at this and going, well, we need to, I need to brush up on realist, how to do this and look at realistic examples, right? if you're looking at real life, for an example, to take into a game, it ain't gonna fucking work, because there are aspects of, you know, an in-game economy, an in-game ecosystem that you have to think about and you have to take into account when you're fucking applying and doing certain things that you don't have in like real life, right? You don't have a situation where you have to be like, well, how do we incentivize people to want to play, right? Because the real life equivalent of that would be, how do we incentivize people to not fall over and just die? You know, you don't have that problem. People generally tend to sort of want to continue to exist, right? That is a given. That is a normal thing. Whereas in a game economy, in a game ecosystem, you have to think, like, how do we make sure that people continue to play the game? You know, continue to want to play the game rather than go and play some other game, right? And I think that's a fundamental thing that, like, CCP devs and Rotati aren't thinking of. They're not thinking about that, unless, and this is obviously a fucking like hyperbole, right? Unless the idea from Rotati is to drive this game into the ground at about the right point that Project Awakening, that Project Awakening comes online, and then it's like, oh guys, you know, why don't you go and play the better version of Eve?
You know, the one you can actually have fun in. Ignore all the crypto.
Apart from ignore all the crypto and the fact that, like, you know, there's a bunch of things that technically I can't actually say on here, but is
they
way
don't want you
fucking
to ignore all the crypto.
Way fucking more expensive for you to play.
They want you to invest in the crypto.
No. Not just that horrendous. Like some of the leaks it's literally Eve 2. Like,
it is. It's Eve 2 with crypto and a crypto wallet, like, actually embedded into the game. Yeah.
Well,
look, it's not like Hilmar's actually had an original idea.
If you want totally serious financial advice from me, go invest in tinfoil.
I mean, I've used a fair amount of tinfoil up on that particular one.
I don't.
Yes, it's driving the price up already.
But the funny thing is, we should. Soth, what's your final one last thing?
That was my last thing.
Oh, it was your one last thing. Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
We didn't get to cover the fucking director's letter.
Fuck that.
Which was
it's
just fucking
and we
terrible.
Still haven't gotten to moon lasers.
We still haven't gotten to moon lasers. Sorry,
horrendous. Nobody's gotten to them because they're fucking irrelevant.
I partook in a mass test that we blew up one of the moon lasers. That was the first. There have been moon lasers that have died. I have seen those kill mails, actually. So they do exist. They have blown up in Tranquility. The other thing that we didn't get to was CCP's use of AI.
Oh, damn.
Which ties in very nicely with a person who had a ticket that they put in for, because we talked about this on like the start of the show, like the terrible kind of like the issues that CCP seem to be having with the Skinner system, right? And apparently there was one of the guys who was making an Archon skin. When he printed it out, it wasn't the same, and so he put in a ticket to get it, to get it sorted out. And basically, he got a bunch of responses which were just not helpful in any way, shape, or form. And so he put out basically a where was it? He put out a fucking Reddit thread, which was essentially not really that good. Titled "Created an Archon skin, colors are wrong, CCP says no refunds." Clearly that does not ring, that does not sound good for CCP, right? At all. I'm going to assume after reading a post about an article about CCP's kind of use of AI in various different ways, right? And one of those is handling tickets with automated responses, is I think he got AI response to the point where he just got angry and went to Reddit to post an anti-CCP. CCP basically says no refunds. When I don't get what I actually was expecting to get, which in terms of developing an AI to make things easier and better is literally not what happened. So yeah, that was the only other thing that I kind of wanted to say. Other than that, I just wonder what the fuck we're going to hear about this coming week that CCP has done, or whether they may actually fucking find some sense and reverse some stuff. Who knows? But yeah. You guys all done? All right.
Dude, I was done 10 minutes ago.
You were done 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Right, everyone, you guys can all go enjoy, whatever
Fireside, you're making
whatever
the
you want to
mess.
enjoy. Yeah, oh yeah, Fireside. Yeah, go fucking enjoy Fireside if you're not there already. And I imagine there's probably...
God damn it, Mac. Click that goddamn button already.
there's
Max, shut up already!
Fuck
How long
off.
can you drag this out?
There's probably meta show as well in an hour, 55 minutes. So, check that out as well. Anyway, we're out.